Alright, we got another Wild Med Adventures video here demonstrating how to do a rope carry in the wilderness and or make a hypothermic wrap. I'm Ben Mattingly, this is Nick Daniel, and we'll show you guys what you need to get started. First off, most of the time you're going to have some sort of rope. We're going to use a climbing rope for demonstration purposes. A lot of times we recommend carrying some sort of cord, like 3 mil or 4 mil cord, which will work just fine. This is just a regular old retired climbing rope. And then usually you can find something to make a backboard out of, like sticks. We got a pile here. You can use skis, ski poles, anything to use. As we demonstrate this, you'll get an idea of what we're talking about. And then if it's a hypothermic wrap, the more sleeping bags, the better. We've got a couple here we'll demo to put the patient in. Some sort of support for the back. We've got a blow-up hiking mattress pad, a regular backpack, a couple of rain jackets, and then a few tarps. If you didn't have a tarp, you could use the fly off of your tent, or maybe the tent itself to make a wrap to keep the heat in, and or just to make a wrap for the carry. Rope. We're just going to tie a simple overhand knot, nothing fancy or hard to remember. So basically take the end of the rope, we're just going to do one simple overhand. Just like that with a loop. Okay, you can tie it off or just leave it, doesn't matter. So we got one simple overhand knot, and now what we're going to do is start this at the patient's feet. And then you need to make this adjustment depending on the size of the patient. Most average people, you can start at about two links, but you're going to need to know how long they are or how wide they are to adjust accordingly. So we'll tell you what we're talking about here. We're going to take that loop. We're going to start off, we've got an average size person we're going to put in the rope carry. We're going to start off with about 2 forearm lengths. Okay? And then to make things easy, I've seen a lot of people do this different ways. We want to space it about the same way each time. So we're going to trap it with our hand. We're going to do about a hand's length, hand's width. And then we're going to trap it. Now we're going to get a little bigger as we go, so we should be about 3 forearm lengths by the time we get to our 3rd or 4th loop. As you can imagine, the patient gets a little wider around the hips and shoulders. So we're going to trap it with our hand. I'm going to send it back about a hand's width. So you can get a little bit longer each time. You can check to see where you're at. Make sure it's about 3 at the hips. We'll do a quick check. 2, that's about 3. So we're going to go a little bit wider on the next one, a little bit longer. Trap it with your hand, and you can just pull against the hand. That way you've got nice, evenly spaced loops. Trap again. And if you have a little too much slack while you're making your carry, that's okay. We'll show you how to pull it out. Same thing, trap. We're going to go about the length of the patient or a little beyond that. One hand width, toss it back. One hand width. One hand width. All right. Now you can see we put a tarp underneath the rope. So once we wrap the patient in this rope, on the outside we'll have a nice slick tarp. So if you're on snow or something like that, you could, once you wrap them up, you can slide them down the slope with the tarp underneath. All right. Go ahead and, so we're going to take our sticks. You can take skis or ski poles. You want to make sure whatever you're putting down, this is going to act like a backboard for the patient. So you want to make sure that it crosses the bottom end of the rope. And then you can just stagger these however you want. Basically making a little backboard. Make one up here. All right. Now, if you've got a pad and you want to make someone a little more comfortable, we'll add in a pad. Now, you can add in another tarp to seal them for a hypothermic wrap. You just put another tarp, a tent, or wherever you got down here to seal in the heat. Okay. Then we're going to take just a regular old hiking pad, Lay a sleeping bag down for comfort. Ideally, you'd have 2 or 3 sleeping bags, one on the bottom, one with the patient in it, and one over the top. Okay?
You want to make sure your sticks go past where you're putting the padding for the patient's feet.
Yeah, otherwise you're going to have their feet dangle or their head dangle up. Now, this will work as a semi-rigid support for their back. You can put their head right on this pad of their backpack that they're not going to be wearing. All right, let's need a patient in here. Put down one more sleeping bag here for demonstration. I'm going to have you go ahead and jump in there. Slide down just a little. All right. All right. Now we're going to take some shirts, or a fleece shirt, or a jacket, or whatever you have. We're just going to do a little padding around the neck, provide a little bit of warmth as well. We're going to use the belt buckle strap, okay, to go around the head just like this. So we'll pad the head. Pull that tight. Okay, now we got stabilization there. If you're worried about a C-spine fracture, we could obviously do C-spine precautions there. All right, and then the extra tarp we threw in will help seal in the heat. Other things for a hypothermic grab, you could boil water, put it in your Nalgene, cover it in a sock, put it in their groin, armpit, put it inside the sleeping bag to keep them warm. Make sure all their clothes are dry, just to help provide a little extra warmth. So now we got a little cocoon here. Fold that up and slide the loop from the other side through that loop. And to tighten it up, we grab the rope closest to the patient's feet.
If you keep this hand always in the midline, it keeps the knots in the middle of the body.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring a little slack. I'm going to center this down a little bit by pulling the one closest to the feet. So I tighten that, and then I just come through. Okay.
We lost him.
Okay, now I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to take out the slack. There we go. I'm going to run this loop through. Just like that. I'm going to hold this up center. So all of your knots should be pretty close to the center of the patient. Pull the back one to tighten it. I'm going to pull a little slack. Run that just so. All right, last one here. Just bring it back through. I'm gonna tighten this down. Try to keep it off the patient's face here with the strangling. Then you take your overhand knot to your beaner, clip the beaner down here. Now you've got a screw. This could also be used for preparing somebody to be choppered out. You can clip 2 ties and lift them that way. Now we'll demonstrate just how to pick someone up and carry them. is take that extra rope if you had to, and you can belay someone off the mountain. You could use this if you're on snow on the bottom so that they would slide nice and easily. Now they've got something slick instead of the rope on the bottom. Your extra rope, you can tie an anchor to your harness and belay them off the mountain 200-300 feet, go back down, set another anchor, slide them back down. We'll show how to lift. Ideally you'll have 4, 6, 8 people to rotate out. And then what you're gonna do, try to use our legs here. On 3, 1, 2, 3. Gonna lift the patient, drop the legs, give a little demo. And then guys in the front control the head, and we'll go forward here. And on 3, we're gonna place patient on the ground. 1, 2, 3. There we go. That's the idea behind a hypothermic wrap and/or rope carry.